Hi, my name is Naveen, and let's look at something called functions in programming languages. So, as you can see here, we have example problem. In this problem, we have a student, and he has a name, and he has subjects: math, science, English, and the maximum marks he can obtain in a subject is 100, and the minimum marks is 0. And then we have to calculate the total percentage out of 300. So let's say if someone gets 160 marks, so what percentage of 300 is that? So we need to calculate that. So one way we can do that is, let's say we take a variable and its name is name, or we can name it something else like student name, and give it a value of something, let's say 9. And then for maths, let's say we have got 60 marks, and then science got 50 marks, and then in English we got 70 marks. So how do we obtain the percentage of this? So we make the sum of all this. So sum of marks equals maths plus science plus English. And now for the percentage, we just have to multiply some marks to the 100.0 upon the total marks. So in this case it's 300. So let's see if it works. Percentage, and we can run this. So how we run this is python results.py, and it's saying 60, and if we do the calculations we can see that 60 is good. Now we come to a question where if we need to calculate the same thing for someone else, so there are two ways we can do this. And first is that we change the values. So let's say we give the student name a value of something else, we change the value of math, science, and English, and then similarly all the values will be changed by themselves, and we'll have a new value, or perhaps same value of percentage, depending on what the marks are. But what if we want to calculate this and keep the result, and we want to calculate then again some result for someone else and keep that result also? So right now our approach doesn't allow that. So in order for us to do that, we need to create, so let's say that we create a variable that's called student 1% is equal to percentage. And now we need to calculate the percentage of student 2. Okay, so how do we do that? We need to do all of this again. So student name 2, and we can say that it's maths 2, not very helpful variable name, but just to suffice the needs. So like this, and then some marks 2, you can say it's also maths 2 because we are doing it for someone else, as to English 2, and then some marks 2, percentage 2, student 2% is equal to percentage 2. So change these marks so we get a different value of the other student. Now if we try to print student 1% and student 2%, student 1% and then print student 2%. Okay, so let's see, and give it some else name. So like give it a name 2. Okay. Now let's run this. Okay, we have both the results, but it's not very helpful. So let's just change this. So student 1%, we can say, we can use string substitution here. and we can say percentage Here's percentile S. So in place of first percentile S, we'll use the name of the student, and the second percentile S, we'll use the percentage of the student. So student's name is student name, and how we do this, we provide tuple student name and then percentage. Okay, and similarly we do the same here. Percentile S, percentage is percentile S, percentile S, percentage is percentile S. So okay, now we can do the same thing here. Student name 2 comma percentage 2. Okay, now if we run the result again, we can see the known percentage. And this is well, but for every new student, if we want to keep the result, every new student, we have to add all these lines. So at least we have to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 new lines. That's not very helpful. Let's say we want to calculate this result for 100 students. So 7 times 100, 700 lines. So that's not why we study computer science. We study computer science to, make things simpler. This is not very simple. So now we notice that in both of them, there are some things very similar. So every student has a name. Every time we need to calculate some marks. For that, we need 3 subjects. And then we do all the calculations, and then we print the result or return the result, whichever is more comfortable. So in mathematics, what the functions are, you say that f of x is equal to x squared. So what does mean that if you put some value of x, then the function will output the square of that value. So if you put 2 in place of x, you will have square of 2, so it's 4. So the same way, the functions in programming languages have a name. So in this case, in mathematics, it's always fx, but in this case, we can name it anything we want. So let's say we name the function calculate percentage, and now we notice that what are the possible inputs that we need. So the inputs will be the name of the student, and then maths marks, science marks, English marks. And then what we do, we take sum of all those marks. Sum of marks is equal to maths plus science plus English. And then we perform the calculation. It's a percentage is equal to sum of marks times 100.0 upon 200.0. So what we are doing is we are doing basically the same sort of calculations that are done here, but the difference, and what we do is we return this result. We return this result, so it's student name comma percentage. So what does this mean for us, and how does this work? So we have a function, we have defined a function named calc percentage, and between these two parentheses, everything that's done here, everything that's inside it are the variables that, or the inputs that we need to provide this function in order for it to work. So how we call this function? So we can call this function like this. So calc percentage, and student name, I can give it my name, Naveen, and then the marks. For marks, first maths marks, then science marks, and then again something else. So we have the 4 inputs. But you see that this we call this function, student name will receive Naveen, maths will receive 50, science 80, and then English 80, and then it will do all these calculations, and it will return this result to me. So, but it's returning the result, but we are not doing anything with that result. So that means, it's not displaying anything on the screen. It's just returning it. So what we can do is, we can store it in a variable p, and then we can print p. So now if we remove all of this, this should print a result. And that result will look something like this. It will look like Naveen percentage is 210 upon 370. Okay, let's see if it does return this. Okay, so this is working, and now we have it in P1. And now for some other student, let's say, so we are going to continue with the previous example. Some other student Bidu who has some else type of numbers, and now we can also print P2, P1, or in this case. Okay, so there you have it. So this is how we create functions. We need some inputs, and then we calculate something, and then we output something. Thank you very much. I hope you get this.